Every so often, a company comes along that becomes a total lightning rod for investors. It swings wildly between incredible hype and, well, deep skepticism. In 2025, that company is MicroAlgo, ticker MLGO, and its story is one heck of a high-stakes gamble on the future of computing.
And that brings us right to the big question, the one every trader is asking right now. After a truly spectacular rise and a pretty painful fall, is MicroAlgo setting itself up for a massive rebound, or is it actually heading for ruin?
To really get the drama here, you have to start with this number. In early 2025, caught up in the absolute frenzy around artificial intelligence, MicroAlgo's stock just exploded. We're talking rocketing up over 300% in a matter of weeks. It was a staggering move that put this company on everyone's radar. So let's just quickly trace this wild ride. The rally really kicked off in April. By June, it hit that incredible peak, but then a soft second quarter report came out and it sent the stock tumbling all summer long. And now it seems to have stabilized right around $10 a share, which, let's be honest, is a shadow of its former high. And that really sets up our core debate.
So what in the world is driving all the optimism? Well, to understand the bull case for this company, you can't look at where MicroAlgo has been. You have to look at where it's going. And folks, it's a radical pivot to the absolute cutting edge of technology.
Believe it or not, just a short while ago, this company was in a completely different business. They were making low-margin hardware, chips. It was a tough, super competitive space with very little room for the kind of explosive growth we're talking about.
But then, in 2024, they made a massive shift. They got out of the hardware business entirely to become a 100% software company. The new focus? Creating high-margin, custom algorithmic services. This wasn't just a small change. It was a complete transformation of their entire business.
And we're not talking about just any software here. They are diving headfirst into the deep end of quantum computing and AI. We're talking about quantum neural networks, next-gen encryption, and even brain-computer interface research. This isn't just innovation. This is the kind of high-risk, high-reward tech that could literally define the next decade. And here's the kicker. This pivot is already paying off. In 2024, their very first year with this new model, they pulled in over $75 million in revenue, and this is important, they returned to profitability with $7.3 million in net income. And that momentum just kept going into 2025, with net income for the first half of the year jumping 62%. All this while they're pouring over $15 million back into R&D to fuel that quantum vision.
Okay, now let's talk about the balance sheet, because this reveals something truly stunning. MicroAlgo is holding $144 million in cash. That's more than its entire market capitalization of $125 million. Think about that for a second. It is incredibly rare for a company to have more cash in the bank than its stock is even worth. This gives them a massive safety net and all the fuel they need to fund their ambitious projects without having to go out and raise more money.
And if that wasn't enough for the bulls, there's their deep strategic alliance with WiMi Hologram Cloud. Now, WiMi hasn't just invested, they've expanded their stake, and, this is critical, they've agreed to a 10-year lockup. That's a massive vote of long-term confidence, and gives MicroAlgo a clear path to actually commercialize its amazing technology.
Okay, that's the exciting long-term vision. But now we absolutely have to talk about the other side of the coin. We have to address the very real short-term risks that have kept most of the big investors away and are fueling this stock's insane volatility.
So here are the major red flags. The company has done 2 reverse stock splits recently, which is almost always seen as a sign of trouble. The stock's price is incredibly volatile, getting whipped around by retail traders, not by fundamentals. This is exactly why institutional ownership is so low. And of course, that soft Q2 report has cast some serious doubt on their near-term revenue growth.
And for anyone who might not know, a reverse stock split is basically a corporate maneuver to boost a low share price. The company reduces the number of shares out there, which makes each of the remaining shares more valuable on paper. It doesn't actually change the company's underlying worth, but it's often a tactic used to stay listed on an exchange like the Nasdaq. And because it's really just a cosmetic fix, the market generally sees it as a major warning sign.
And this, right here, really gets to the heart of the stock's behavior. You have 2 completely different groups at play. On one side, you've got retail traders. They're drawn to the headlines, they have a high tolerance for risk, and they're the ones driving these massive daily price swings. On the other side,
You've got the big institutional investors. They're all about fundamentals, they see the red flags, and it's leading them to stay almost entirely on the sidelines.
So, what do we have? We have this visionary, cash-rich, long-term bull case on one hand, and the volatile, super risky short-term bear case on the other. This brings us to the investor's choice. How do you possibly weigh these two competing narratives?
Let's just put it all side by side. The vision is a quantum AI pioneer with a ton of cash, a proven profitable new model, and key partnerships. The reality, today, is a stock with extreme volatility, NASDAQ compliance issues, price action driven by sentiment, and a technological vision that, as of right now, is still commercially unproven.
So with these two powerful forces pulling in completely opposite directions, what's the one factor that's going to decide everything? What will ultimately determine if MicroAlgo succeeds, or if it fails?
It all boils down to this. The entire investment thesis, both the bull and the bear case, it all hinges on a single question. Can MicroAlgo successfully go from fascinating research and development to creating real, scalable commercial products that customers will actually pay for? If they can do that, the potential is just enormous. If they can't, well, it remains a speculation.
And that leaves us with this final thought, which I think just perfectly captures the dilemma here. Investing in MicroAlgo today is, quote, not for the faint of heart, but neither was Tesla at $30 or Nvidia at $12. It's a high-stakes quantum gambit for sure, and the final outcome is yet to be written.